Well, there we go. Let's kick it off. June 4th, midweek update. Joe with you here, bringing it back from a long time ago. I'm going to be explaining this in detail here over the in the first little bit of these series. If you've got two or three you really like, or one or two things you want to look at, please let me know, and I can go through them. So I guess you guys will pick it up as we go. It's been a while, and I'm looking forward to it. So let's get into our content disclaimer. This is for sharing purposes, right? You're responsible for whatever you guys decide to do.
All trades and analysis in this video are for professional traders only. This video has been released to the public after a delay required by our compliance department. Maverick Traders received this market recap immediately, along with real-time trading support and resources. Maverick Trading is a proprietary trading firm that backs professional stock and options traders with firm capital. Our traders keep 70 to 80% of the profits they generate. If you're ready to become a professional trader, click the apply link in the video description below. Let's break down what happened in the markets today.
Current market analysis, and I'm going to start with our FinViz. Okay, so jumping into our FinViz here, folks. The first thing we're going to take a look at is just these top windows. This is one of my favorite things to look at. So this is kind of the intraday here. Looks like all three of the markets did gap up, kind of slowly bleeding towards a median, maybe flattening out. We've got our advanced decline line here. It looks like it's 60, 60, 40, 60, 38. Kind of sideways for now, above, below the moving averages. These are all the things that we report on at the end of the day. I'm just going to give it a brief look before we get into some of the stocks that you guys want to look at. And by the way, as I'm doing this, if you guys have found that chat box, please start typing in some ticker symbols you'd like to look at. Very simply put, just type in the ticker symbol, bull or bear. You could get specific to it when it comes to, I'm looking at a horizontal spread for the next 3 weeks. Any little bit like that will help. And if not, well, hey, I've got some charts that we can look at to get us going. Now, at the end of the class, I'll build a little list of what we talked about, up, down, and sideways. And once again, we can share it with everybody else once it's posted. So let's just jump quick into the heat map. Right, you can see that it's kind of got that nice, let's say, kind of a brown, dark green, brownish, which means it's mostly just sideways here. I was thinking about, and I might implement this moving forward, folks, is adding news of the day. If there's any sort of key news events or maybe economic events that came out, I'm thinking I'll add a slide for that as just a real brief cover. But this is going to be a little bit more, hey, let's go out and just take a look at trades. Let's get started. I've got my box up. Looks like, oh, thank you, Bill. Bill's going to start with CEG here. Now, this is Constellation, and I love being a coach here because I remember that conversation we had, Bill. It was looking really good. Nice break up to the upside, but then it came back down. I imagine it was some sort of an announcement. Actually, it was, wasn't it? I don't remember the exact announcement on it. But I do love this high base. I like how it broke up. It did gap and it came back down. It needs to kind of set a floor here. What I do like about it is that the move that it had to the upside seemed to be pretty strong. And it has come down, and although it looks a little weak, let me zoom in if this will help. Make sure you guys can see it. It has found a little bit of a gap and a stop here. I'm thinking if it could stick somewhere sideways, this consolidation level, I mean, it still could be showing quite a bit of strength here, folks. I mean, we've got a 20 and a 200 and a 50, and they're moving up pretty good. But we'll see where that goes. So if it can flatten right around that 300 mark, I mean, Bill, I know we talked about this the other day. I still like it. It could be a good trade. Now, this did have a dividend, right? It had its earnings a little while ago. In fact, the discussion you and I had on it was, wow, it's funny how it missed, but it continued higher. So there's definitely some interest in it. Potential bull. See, it's that easy. That's kind of what we're doing. Brian saying, Tesla, I'm not sure what bullish leading into a robo-taxi launch. Well, let's take a look at that. Let's jump into Tesla here. Okay. And you always get excited when you get to the next big thing and how it can, push these. And I try not to incorporate too much of that in there, right? I try to be non-fundamental. I try to be more technical, but it's kind of hard not to get excited. Anyways, what do we like about it? Well, let's just zoom in a little bit more here. It's got that same high base. I like the turnaround that these have had. These markets have been super strong, and it's carried a lot of these up as of late. So it looks like it's rolling over a little bit. I'd focus more on support levels. I wouldn't be too concerned with where it's at that 20. But if it can roll a little bit further down here at that the 320 mark, sorry, the 20-day moving average is where it's at right now, and I'm okay with it breaking it as long as it can hit the $320 mark and establish some sort of a support here. This would be referred to as an open gap. So an open gap trade still shows some strength. More of a consolidation than it would be bullish. So yeah, for Tesla, geez, should we add it to maybe a bull, or should we do sideways on that? Let me put it kind of a sideways bull. And this is, I kind of assume a little things here, so just to let you guys know. If I see something that might be good, it might be bull, it might be bear. I mean, it might be bullish, it might be sideways. I kind of put it in the sideways range, but that's a fun one to think about. Thanks, Brian. Okay, Braylon, considering Meta. Oh, let's see, Meta returning to 700. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, okay, sure, yeah, wonderful. Let me zoom in a bit. Okay, so yeah, I like it. I like it. It's got that same consolidation. This had a little bit of a pullback, but I just love when price action pushes higher. High base, ascending triangles are my favorites. Same with low base, descending triangles. Anything that's exceeding price action in either direction is pretty favorable, I believe. I like that, at least for me. 700 as far as a target makes total sense. Yeah, you could snap a Fibonacci on there, maybe draw some trend lines on this. Of course, that's going to be somewhere up there. Any sort of type of spread you were thinking about at all on that, Braylon? Go ahead and type it in. That'd be cool, something to talk about. But I will definitely put Meta on the bull watch here. Type it in here. All right. Okay, cool. Moving over into coal. CICGS is in a high base. Let's take a look. It is, and almost kind of a consolidation, isn't it? Almost like a symmetrical triangle pattern. But let's see if I can, yeah, something across here. So slightly lower, pinching real tight at that 600, but I like that. Look at the 20-day moving average on that. It's really, really neat. So yeah, kind of a symmetrical triangle. Symmetrical triangle patterns, usually when they break, they will explode to one side, and the probabilities are very, very low. I think it was 50, barely over 50%, like 50.2 or 50.5%. Somebody has to check me on that, but of a symmetrical triangle breakout is in the direction of the previous trend. There's a mouthful. So if we have a symmetrical triangle and something moving higher, we have a slight advantage. It might possibly break to the upside. For me, that's good enough. I just like the chart. Now, what's cool about this, Nicole, is if you really want to wait, you can wait for it to get above one of its previous levels. Symmetrical triangle patterns, usually when they break, they'll go pretty quick. But if you'd like an entry point, maybe somewhere above this previous high. Now, if you were to try to play this to the downside, I do this sometimes on earnings. I will look for, hey, if it breaks below this point to the downside, I'm going to go bear. And if it's above this point to the bull side, I'm going to go bullish. And it's usually pretty easy to do because it will exceed one of those 2 points. So another one. Okay, let's go ahead and put Goldman Sachs in there as well. All right. So I hope you guys are getting the idea of how this rhythm is going to go. And trust me, I'm going to get quicker at it, I promise. I'll get cleaner at it. We're going to add some more slides as we go. It's so much fun. I'm so excited for this to be back. It's just going to be great. Okay, so let's take a look at the next one. Oh, Jaws has got Eli Lilly. I think it'll reach 580 by June expiration. Lots of open interest in the calls. Oh, great. Oh, now for me, this is a little counter trend trade. However, look at the surge this is having. I mean, there's something to be made or discussed about this, and I love this class for it. This class will put ideas for traders based on, oh, gee, I wouldn't have ever thought of that because that's not quite my style, or I'm not familiar with this. So that's why I want you guys to take this for what it is. Now, Jaws, can see that actually this is really pushed higher here. above resistance area, I do really like that. I'm a big fan of when price action can be broken, threatened, and sustained. So what I don't like, it downtrend below its averages, that's pure clean. But the momentum, the surge, and the idea is, hey, he was thinking, what was that, about 850. So let's get up here, 850 by June. That might be a tall order. It just depends on what's going on with it. You could see that it had its earnings back here, and even though they came in line, there was something that wasn't liked about that. It could just be the sector itself. But the surge itself carried all the way to 850. Well, we've seen a gap like this, and it surged up here. We saw a move off the bottom, and it's gone all the way back up there. I'll tell you what, I think it might have it. However, probability-wise, you got a lot of stuff in your way, for lack of a better explanation. But, it's definitely something that you could kind of put on your watch list. And if you do want to take something, and we refer to this as kind of a counter-trend trade, just make sure that your position size for it. And if it does come in for you, that's got to be one of those things that you kind of have to scalp, because it won't stay there for long. And that would just be my 2 cents on it. Thanks for that. Okay, Cassandra has Hood. Hood was actually, I think, Rob took a look at this on Monday. I get a chance to look at it. Oh, I like it. Yeah, I like it. Hood's another one. Pushing higher, breaking above resistance levels. Just seems to be one of those stocks that are just in favor. We've seen a lot of those happen over as of late. Let me go ahead and just type it in as we go. But let's see. There we go. Anything specific you were looking on this, Cassandra, or were you just saying, hey, just going to continue higher? What's cool about these is if you're worried about the surge slowing, because we've got to move higher with this red candle, which is completely fine if you can do something like a vertical spread, something that absorbs a range, play it above 68, somewhere below 75. You play a range of 68, 75, somewhere in there. Diagonals are great for this. Sell that 75, and then if it goes back towards that 68, you're fine, because then it can move higher. What you're looking for is a short retracement, something like this, something like that, or consolidation. I always feel sad when I used to get nervous when I traded these for the first time, because I felt up here I was chasing. Now, yeah, I'm chasing the short-term price action, but I'm not chasing or getting into a trade that's going to fall apart late. I'm getting into a trade late, and I have to wait for it to consolidate and then probably move higher. So if you can get into a trade like this, which looked like a +3 trade, we'll say, or a +2 trade, treat it like a +1 for a minute. See if it can consolidate or pull back or retest. And then once it starts to emerge again, and you get this opportunity like you had a few days ago, then you could turn it up to that +3 trade, that exposure. All right, moving along. Anybody else? Nope. Okay, well, I'll wait for you to type. I've got a couple to look at. Eyes prepared. I remember how these classes work. This is CrowdStrike, and I think we talked about this yesterday, but totally forgot that it had its earnings today. So, to be honest, I haven't really even seen what those earnings are. I'll go through and take a look at them. But if we could see that, hey, maybe the earnings weren't so bad. And so we do have the chart here, and it looks like it did gap down. Now, if it can sustain itself there and create another tradable pattern and maybe start to move higher, CrowdStrike would be one that I would put back onto my bull radar. That's kind of why I wanted to address that today, because it was on, and I just took it off because it's in the middle of trying to, what's the word, kind of reset itself. So we'll see what the sentiment does with this, but this is still, they like their bull side, don't they? All right, got another one up here. Let's take, coin. Okay, let's take a look at coin. All right, Greg. Interesting, right? It's got that same kind of consolidation that we saw with I guess that was Goldman Sachs, right? But yeah, okay. A little bit of a, geez, let me zoom in more. I got to remember, folks, that your screen is way smaller than mine. Okay, I like this first gap up across all the moving averages. Everything flips to 20 slopes. Then we get this little bit of a pullback here. So that's that open gap price point right there after the gap, and we are pivoting a higher technical low. So I like kind of where it's at. I don't know if it's going to pull back and consolidate or fall apart. But if it can keep moving this way, then yeah, I could be a little bit more bullish. That being said, we could use this as something sideways to up. This doesn't have to be a +2, all right, or a +3. This could be a +1. This could be a 0 to +1 trade, in fact. I might put coin in the potential sideways, because if it does come back and retest this 20 and then decide to kind of meander around here, and we've got a 250, 270 credit spread on it, that could be super helpful, right? Or something diagonal. A couple things that I like to do. Targeted butterflies are nice. That's a good place to. That's a good way to kind of shoot something out, but at the same time, not put too much in exposure-wise. Diagonal spreads, things like that. So I do like coin. I'm gonna go ahead and put coin over on the neutral with Tesla. Okay, thanks. I like coin, Greg. Not bad. Okay, let's go down to GEV. All right. Okay, I like it. Zoom in here. Look at this run it's had. Excuse me. Especially industrial machinery. See, GEV, something I'm not very familiar with. I know the company, but I'm not familiar with the stock and how it trades. But look at this thing. I like it. That's really nice. It doesn't really pull back for very long, does it? A little bit of hesitation, then it just kind of marches up. At least recently it has. I take a look at some of the behaviors in the past. You could see, okay, everything's good, and then boom, it just looks like it resets itself. So it is a volatile one, that is for sure. But I like it. I like this as kind of a, wow, that's a large move. Let's take a look at some of this. Let's see the ATR in this thing, $16. Okay, that's a lot more volatile than I'm thinking it is when you're looking at it. So this is going to be one of those stocks that you're going to find is going to have some seriously wide spreads in it. So costs are going to be tough on this one. But what I like about it is since it is so volatile, you can be super patient with it. I would be doing something a lot wider than that. I mean, a $16 ATR with that wide of spreads, out of the money stuff, credit spreads, things, just let that, if you're going to eat up 70, 60, 80 cents in a bull call spread, you got to make sure you're shooting more than for like $5. You want to shoot for like $25. But I like it. How about Bud? But yeah, here's Bud looking really good, just kind of marching up. I like it. Very similar to the last chart we saw, but nowhere near as volatile. But I like it. Yeah, I like it. And this is an easier one to do +1s. You don't need to do +2s on this. You could see, I mean, we got a $2 spread there as far as its price range goes. You got a 97-cent ATR. So, I mean, this thing does move pretty good. But we don't need to bite off big chunks because we don't have to try to compensate for that volatility. This is something that you could put on like a $2, $3 spread on for a week and a half. Thanks, Mike. All right, Todd. All right, so UPS, yeah. UPS is kind of interesting because it wants to hang in there. This drop coming off of this gap higher really kind of made me feel like, okay, UPS is still that bearish sentiment, glass half empty for sure, but it's kind of staying above that 94 support for now and kind of drifting higher. It's more of a consolidation range, so yes, Todd, 100%, because his question was, hey, sideways to bearish, what do you think? UPS is definitely sideways, so I'm going to put that in there. But I'm also going to take a look at PEP, right? Oh, well, I keep calling it Pep Boys. It's PepsiCo. I apologize. Jeez. All right, back to it. No, Todd, no, this is great. No, same idea. I like it. You can see that the shadow was actually revisiting the support level that was before it. This seems a little bit weaker, to tell you the truth, between the two. But I do like them both as sideways to bearish. Geez. Yeah, I'll put them both in the sideways. But guys, understand that we could also go bearish as well. In fact, let me see if I can do this. Let's see. I'll put a little asterisk on these. And what that means is, not just sideways or not just sideways. It means it's sideways to down or sideways to up. Those are both great. Thanks, Todd. All right, Brett, we got Honeywell. Okay, wonderful. Nice high base. I like this. Cool trade. Just back to where it's at. You can actually look all the way back into this area early on in the year here at February where it's actually revisiting. I love the consolidation on this. This would be nice for, anything. Targeted butterfly. Based on where you want it to go. So snap Fibonacci's on this. You could draw a trend line on it. I would be, target something like a 225, 230, 235 butterfly spread in the shorter term. You could go a little further, maybe target somewhere up around this 235 for that, or a vertical spread or a diagonal if you want to go further down the road, right, to have 1 or 2 weeks to actually roll to. But I like Honeywell a lot. That's a good one. Let's take a look at a couple that I had on my list still. And these are ones that just carried over. One that I thought was really neat was Disney. Check it out. It's one of those high, flat bases. I think we talked about this maybe yesterday. I think Corey might have said something talking about this yesterday. But I like it. I like the consolidation it's got up there. You could see, boy, if I can squeeze this down. Back in the past, 116 was a pretty big level for it. Back up here, it consolidated just above that, the 116, 117 area. So it's got this nice base. It's almost waiting. It almost seems like it's waiting to gather some energy, and then maybe can push higher, maybe with the next market surge. But I like Disney as well. Okay, so it looks like we're stalling out here, but let's do this. I've got. Let's look at the bear side. I've got to have something on the bear. MRK. And I know that we are actually at a +3 market, or excuse me, +2 market. We've got that nice base. We'll take a look at that here in a second as well. Got some more notes. Okay. All right. So this is Merck. It looked good yesterday. A little bit of a pop today. Doesn't mean that it's going to run all the way back up to the, the top. But I do like it. If it can consolidate here, I mean, it's got this gap, a little bit of a surge, maybe an oversold bounce. If it can re-threaten this level, that might be, it'll put it right back into contention. I'll leave it off for now just because I don't like the candle that's on there. Let's take a look at Baba was one. Baba's same thing. Looks like we just got caught in a little bit of a bounce day for our bears. And you guys know how much fun that is, right? I always get those bounce days where all my bears go up and all my bulls go down. So that's kind of where we're going to be sitting at this. So once again, just keep it on the list. It's nothing I'm really excited about. But boy, if we can come back and threaten where it was a few days ago, shoosh, I'll put that thing right back on. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at, well, let's do one other. Unless I get somebody else that wants to type something in, and then I'll cut you loose. I'll share what we talked about on our little list for the day. All right. Okay. So I do like GDS. This one's still holding in there. This is that same kind of a pinch going on over the last few days. I'd like to see this kind of roll over and break. This might drop. You might have to catch it pretty quick. It's got a $1.67 ATR on it, but definitely out of the bears that I have on my list, it's my favorite one so far. All right, so that's it. Let's. I guess we'll just cut it there. Okay, so this is what we chatted about right here. So if you guys want to write those down, once again, this will be recorded, posted. You'll have access to it, and so that's it. The first midweek back. Thank you for the participation, guys. This gets better. This gets faster. It's like kind of like riding a bike for me. I'm just trying to shake off the rust. I'm pretty soaked. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for joining me, and we'll talk to you next time, right, guys? Bye, everybody.